Cześć pokututa, please Takrenko, jak Oscar.
Well, I was finally able to track down NECA's ultimate colorized Wolfman. We've had some trouble with NECA in Canada at retail. We don't get it at Walmart. We don't have Target. Luckily, I was able to find this at a local comic shop. I actually found it again later the same day at the mall. So hopefully we've turned a new page for NECA here in Canada. Now, obviously, great job with the packaging as usual. Nice look at the poster on the front. Picture of the figure on the inside and the window, as always with NECA. Let's take a look at the figure. As always, sculpt and paint are a strength for NECA, and it's no different with this figure here. This is the latest in the Universal Monsters line. The first one we saw was Frankenstein's monster, and that had just as much attention to detail as the Wolfman here. Obviously, these movies were released in black and white, so having color versions is a little different, but I'm glad they are giving us colored versions and black and white versions of these. I love that we have the choice there. I'm collecting the color versions. Bit of a closer look here at Wolfman. We see an excellent mix of paints for the fur here. It gives depth, it gives a bit of a grimy feel. You'll see on the face we have some printing to get out some of the details there. As for sculpt, they haven't gone with realism for the clothing, I wouldn't say, in that we're not getting a denim texture like we saw with Ultimate Ash. This is instead a bit of a grimy, muddy sort of look, but I think it really works, and it evokes the look of the films for me. I don't know what it is, but we do get some great detail in the fabric itself, in the folds, in the fur. They've done an excellent job here. Some great details, the sculpted buttons and stuff like that, and again, well, it looks to be a wash to show some of the detail in the creases. With NECA, you can look at these figures all day and find new stuff in the fine details. We get a really good assortment of accessories and interchangeable parts with the Wolfman. Here we have the second Wolfman head, bit of a snarling look, looking off to the side. I find this just gives you really good choices for posing and photography and stuff like that. I'm glad we got this. But where this figure really shines is the fact that NECA has given us interchangeable Larry Talbot parts to have an untransformed Wolfman. Here we have a head sculpt with a really good likeness to Lon Chaney Jr. The hair is wonderful, with a bit of a scared expression, and again, all the details are there. It comes with the full neck, and just excellent attention to detail. A very subtle stubble on there, not too overstated. Really big fan of this. We have interchangeable feet and ankles here. Again, with excellent detail. Well, they've even sculpted the bottom of the feet with detail there. Wonderful stuff. We have two hands that both come like this. Very gestural, very expressive. And we have one extra right hand here that's a gripping hand for one of the accessories. So you can use that gripping hand to fit this silver cane here. This is very prominent in the movie, and I'm a big fan of the sculpt. We have some extra gold paint here, and I think that's to accentuate the sculpt, but it does look a little sloppy up close. On the shelf, I don't think it's going to be ugly, but a little weird with the paint application. Still, an excellent accessory. I'm glad they included this. The other accessory we get is a bear trap here, looking very good. Some wonderful paint details here to make it look rusty, to bring out the sculpt. It looks metal, but would it be a NECA product without at least one break? You can see here that's broken off. This was really stuck. Both of these were very stuck out of the packaging for me. I had to heat them up, and this one moved. This one did not. I tried to apply pressure in the right spot to get it to move. Heated it up a few times, but we did see a break. It's still functional, right? You can still bring them both up like that. But yes, I did suffer a breakage. I do like this accessory overall. It has other movable parts other than the jaws there. You can actually set the trap. This little hinge moves up, and the trigger here moves up. So you can lay that down and have it set to spring. Really cool. And again, add some really good options for posing and photography. Finally, NECA includes a stand with the Wolfman. This didn't come with Frankenstein's monster, but I did find it very, very handy. because at the bottom of the feet here, we see peg holes. And this is kind of at the toe area. You can see his feet are sculpted in such a way that you can have him flat, or you can have him kind of up on his toes like that and make use of the stand. And again, makes for cool posing. You can have one foot flat, another taking a step there. Really cool, and I did have fun posing with the stand there. We'll look at articulation now, but first I want to talk about the interchangeable heads. So these pop right off the whole neck, not just the head. I did have trouble getting these on. I had to heat them up for one thing, and I never really feel a definitive pop when I get either of the interchangeable heads on, and they can kind of just come loose. Like it just comes off. With the original head, I do get a good tactile pop, and I can feel it, and I know it's fully in. For the other ones, not so much. I do recommend heating them up, throw them in some water, or use a hairdryer, as is NECA tradition. But for the other joints, I did need to heat them up. They all move just fine. I have a single joint on the elbow that goes up pretty far. I did complain when Ash had the single elbow, but I don't think we need double joints on the Wolfman here. This is pretty much as far as you'll need. The hand has a swivel, and that can rotate. I'm okay with these being the only hands. I don't know what else you're going to want with the Wolfman. He's not going to be holding stuff. He's just going to be making spooky poses like that. We have rotation here at the bottom of the waist. It doesn't go very far forward and back. The legs go out a pretty good distance. They go this far forward. Back a decent amount. This is actually pretty soft here, the diaper piece. Single jointed leg. Goes out about that far. We do have rotation, given that the joint is located there. Pretty good ankle movement. And we do have the rocker as well. That gives you some really good motion. I'll show him here next to some other NECA werewolves. Here he is with a Nazi werewolf from An American Werewolf in London. We have the Kessler wolf from An American Werewolf in London, though I do have him pretty low down. That is a massive figure, though, and a great one. For a height comparison, here we have the Wolfman next to NECA's first Universal Monsters release, Frankenstein's Monster. Good height differential here. Obviously, the monster comes in pretty tall, but I do like the difference in height here with the Wolfman. And having these two together is great. I had a lot of fun posing them fighting. Obviously, there were crossovers with all these guys. It was kind of a MCU before the MCU. So overall, I'm very happy with this release from NECA. I think Wolfman is one of the more limited figures you can do. When I was photographing him, I felt kind of limited in what he could do. And it's not because of the figure, it's just because of Wolfman. But with the hands we get, he's very expressive. He has two different facial expressions, and you have the interchangeable Larry Talbot parts that you can have a lot of fun with. But this is an excellent release from NECA, and I'm all in on this line. As if I didn't already know that with the Frankenstein monster, we have another great release with the Wolfman. I will be trying to track down the Mummy. That's been out for a while. We've been seeing reviews of it coming out. They've teased Dracula. They just announced the Invisible Man. And I already want to see more. Give me Gilman. I'd love to see the Bride of Frankenstein. NECA's just killing it. There's clearly a lot of love going into this line. Let me know what you think. Have you been picking these up? Are you going to go back and get these now? We've obviously seen a ton of representations of these Universal monsters in action figure form. Are these your favorite? Maybe you're a fan of the Diamond Select ones from a few years back. If you are getting these, are you getting the black and white ones or the color ones? Let me know in the comments. And subscribe if you want.